Everyone abandoned the alien heir, until a human janitor reached into her cradle. The Solarian star citadel was never quiet. Its crystal towers always hummed with energy. Guards floated across glowing bridges. Silver walls pulsed with soft light like living creatures. But tonight, everything was still. Too still. It felt like the entire empire was holding its breath. Healers rushed through bright corridors, their long robes dragging behind them. They carried scanners that flashed red. They whispered codes into wrist devices. They pushed carts filled with rare herbs and crystal medicines from far galaxies. None of it worked. Their steps sounded like thunder in the empty halls, but no one dared speak louder than a whisper. Everyone knew why. Inside the royal infusion chamber, the Starlight Princess stood beside a levitating prism cradle. Inside it lay her newborn daughter, a tiny infant with moonlit skin and small glowing ridges on her forehead. She was supposed to be the future leader of the Solarian Alliance. But now her glow was fading. Her breathing was thin and shaky. Her tiny chest rose and fell like it was losing strength with every second. Healers scanned the baby again and again. No response to cooling waves. Her temperature keeps dropping. The nebula herbs failed. "We are out of ideas, Your Highness." The princess had led armies. She had stood against warlords and nebula beasts. But now she looked like a mother who had lost all her strength. Her hands shook as she held the cradle. Her eyes were red from sleepless nights. Every time the baby exhaled, the princess flinched like her soul was breaking. One healer stepped back, voice trembling. "Your Highness, the infant may not survive the cycle." The princess closed her eyes in pain. Her empire was built on strength, but none of it could help her child. Outside, guards stood with stiff faces. Some looked ready to cry. Others whispered that if the heir died, rival empires would strike. The Solarian Alliance would fall apart. Peace would break. Everything depended on a child who could barely breathe. And in the middle of this chaos, a human maintenance worker named Jonas Reed pushed his cleaning drone down the hallway. He was tired. His arms felt heavy from repairing malfunctioning lights all day. His uniform smelled like dust and metal. No one ever noticed him. To most aliens, he was just the human who fixed broken things. Jonas didn't mind. He was used to being invisible. But today, fate noticed him. As he passed the infusion chamber, alarms beeped loudly. Healers shouted. Machines whirred in panic. Jonas paused. Something inside him told him to look. Just one look. He peeked through the doorway. He saw the princess crying silently. He saw the small glowing child fighting for life. The sight cut into him. He didn't know them, but something in his chest tightened. He didn't step inside. He just watched from the doorway. The princess saw him and snapped, "Human. Leave at once." Guards moved toward him. Jonas quickly stepped back, hands raised. He didn't want trouble. He turned to leave. But then something unbelievable happened. The baby lifted her tiny hand. Not toward the princess. Not toward the healers. Toward Jonas. The machines suddenly changed tone. The alarms softened. Her glow brightened, just a little, but enough for every healer to freeze. The princess turned slowly, eyes wide. "Human, stop." Jonas froze in place, confused. The baby opened her eyes. Soft silver rings. Glowing. Focused straight on him. She breathed deeper. The scanner readings rose. Jonas took a step back. The numbers dropped instantly. He stepped forward again. They rose. Whispers filled the chamber. "It's impossible. She reacts to the human." Her glow returned by 2 degrees. Jonas felt his heart racing. He was just a maintenance worker. Why was a royal baby reacting to him? The princess approached him slowly. Her voice was shaking. Human, what did you do? Jonas stammered. Me? Nothing. I just walked by. But the baby reached again, small fingers trembling, begging for him without words. The princess whispered. Do not move. Stay exactly where you are. And for the first time in his life, Jonas Reed realized. He was no longer invisible. Tonight, the fate of an entire galaxy had just turned toward him. Jonas sat stiffly beside the floating prism cradle, trying not to breathe too loudly. He felt out of place, surrounded by high-tech machines, glowing panels, and alien healers whispering like he was a strange creature. The infant's soft glow brightened each time he leaned closer, and weakened whenever he shifted away. None of the healers understood it. None of them wanted to admit it. One healer scanned him for the 7th time. No uncommon energy signature. No rare minerals. No mutated cells. Another frowned. He is average. Extremely average. Jonas muttered, thanks. The princess finally lifted her hand. Enough. Everyone leave. Healers protested. But your highness. Leave, she repeated, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Within seconds, the room emptied. Now it was only Jonas, the princess, 2 silent guards, and the fragile child whose faint glow pulsed like a weak star. Jonas swallowed. I don't understand what's happening. The princess didn't answer right away. She paced slowly, her long cloak brushing the glowing floor. Her expression was the same mix of fear and steel he had seen earlier, except now she looked like she was fighting with her own thoughts. Finally, she stopped. What is your name, human? Jonas. Jonas Reed. She nodded. Jonas Reed, you are not allowed to leave the medical wing. Jonas blinked. Am I being detained? You are being needed, she said flatly. My daughter depends on you. Jonas stared at the baby again. Her tiny hands reached toward him, like she recognized him. Like he was safe. Like he belonged there. Jonas hesitated. But why me? I don't have powers. I can't heal anyone. I fix lights and scrub floors. Her eyes lowered. You were never meant to know this truth. She took a long breath. But the secret cannot stay buried now. Jonas felt his skin prickle. My child, she whispered, is not fully Solarian. Jonas frowned. What do you mean? She is half human. The words hit him like a shockwave. Half human. A royal heir. It sounded impossible. Forbidden. Dangerous. The princess looked away, her voice softer and full of old sadness. Years ago, on a distant exploration world, I was wounded during a raid. A human traveler saved me. A brave man. A kind man. He tended my wounds, protected me until help came. In those days together, a bond formed. Jonas felt the weight of her words. He wasn't just hearing a secret. He was hearing a confession. Most of the council believes the father died in battle, she said. They do not know he was human. They must never know. Why? Jonas asked quietly. Because if they discover the heir carries human blood, they will declare her unfit for the throne. Armies will rise. The alliance will shatter. Enemies will attack. And they will kill anyone connected to the truth. Jonas looked at the child. Her glow flickered weakly. Yet her silver eyes watched him with innocent trust. She reacts to you, the princess continued. Your presence, your warmth, something in you reminds her body of the father she never met. Jonas felt something tighten in his chest. He looked at the baby's tiny hand reaching toward him. A sense of connection filled him, strange, sudden, but deep. Jonas Reed, the princess said softly, you are now part of this secret. Willingly or not. Outside the chamber, rushed footsteps echoed down the hall. Voices rose. Guards argued. The tension thickened like heavy smoke. The princess stiffened. The High Council demands answers. They grow suspicious. They will not like finding a human near the heir. Jonas frowned. Why not just tell them the truth? She stepped closer. Because they will accuse you of manipulation. They will say you poisoned the heir or bewitched her. They will use any excuse to get you removed, quietly. Removed. Jonas felt cold. But I didn't do anything, he whispered. That does not matter, she replied. Power fears what it does not understand. The baby's glow dimmed slightly. Her breathing weakened. Jonas instinctively moved closer, and she stabilized again. The princess watched this with a mix of awe and fear. You see. Even your distance harms her. Jonas took a shaky breath. I didn't ask for this. I'm just. Do not say, just a worker, she cut in. Today, you are the difference between life and death. Two guards returned, faces tense. Your Highness, the council is gathering outside. They are pushing for entry. The princess whispered. They must not see you here. Why? Jonas asked. Because if they believe you are essential to my child, they will eliminate you. Jonas looked at the baby again. Her glow pulsed softly, like a heartbeat calling to him. Her small fingers trembled toward him. He knelt beside the cradle. I'll stay, he said quietly. As long as she needs me. The princess watched him for a long moment, this ordinary human, scared, shaking, but choosing to stay. You remind me of him, she whispered. And in that instant, the citadel lights flickered, like the galaxy itself acknowledging something had changed. Jonas Reed was no longer invisible. He had just stepped into a secret large enough to ignite a war. And a destiny far greater than anything he ever imagined. Jonas stayed beside the infant all night. Her glow rose and fell softly, like a tiny star learning how to breathe again. Machines around her hummed with calmer tones now, responding to his presence like it was a stabilizing force. He didn't sleep. He didn't move much. He was terrified that if he shifted even an inch, her light would fade. By early morning, the citadel corridors outside felt heavier than before. Healers spoke in hushed voices. Guards paced faster. Every face Jonas passed carried suspicion or fear. The princess entered the chamber wearing ceremonial armor. Her eyes were tired. Her jaw was tense. The council is demanding a full explanation, she said. Jonas stood. What did you tell them? Nothing. Her voice was sharp. They cannot know of your connection to my daughter. But they already think I'm here for no reason. Jonas rubbed his forehead. They'll assume the worst. They already have, she whispered. Later that day, a group of high-ranking nobles arrived with masked guards. They requested to see the princess alone. Jonas wasn't invited, but he heard every word echoing through the walls. Your Highness, a human inside the Royal Medical Wing is unacceptable. Remove him immediately. The people will think you trust outsiders more than your own council. This will cause chaos. The princess's voice cut through their demands. Jonas Reed stays. For a moment, silence filled the hall. Then someone spit out a single word. Why? The princess answered, low and dangerous. He is vital. Jonas knew exactly what the nobles heard. He is a threat. By evening, the princess returned with 2 armored guards. Her face was unreadable. These guards will accompany you at all times, she said. Jonas stared. 2 guards. Why? To protect me or to watch me? Her silence answered the question. Jonas nodded slowly. He wasn't angry, just scared. He knew something dark was growing behind the palace doors, like a storm waiting for the right moment to break. Hours later, after giving the baby her nutrient blend, Jonas stepped out of the medical chamber for a short stretch. The two assigned guards followed him closely. Too closely. The hallway was unusually empty. The lights flickered once. The security cameras above crackled, then turned off. Jonas froze. Why are the cameras down? Neither guard answered. The chamber door behind him sealed automatically with a soft hiss. Locked. A cold wave ran down Jonas's spine. He backed away instinctively. I need to be inside, he said. You know She'll be fine, the taller guard interrupted, his voice low and unfamiliar. Jonas stared at him. That wasn't the voice of a palace guard. The second one stepped closer. His hand slid under his armor and pulled out a thin metallic blade, small, sharp, and definitely illegal inside the medical wing. Jonas whispered. You're not real guards, are you? No, the tall one said. And you won't survive long enough to warn anyone. They lunged. Jonas did the only thing his instincts allowed, he grabbed the nearest object. His maintenance rod, used earlier to fix ceiling lights. He swung it with pure panic. The rod smacked the blade, sending it skidding across the floor. The shorter attacker cursed and grabbed Jonas's arm, trying to twist it. Jonas drove his elbow into the guard's ribs. Years of lifting heavy equipment suddenly mattered. The taller attacker charged with a roar. Jonas ducked, using the metal rod like a staff, striking the man's knee. The guard stumbled. Jonas shoved a rolling supply cart into him with all his strength. It bought him only a second. The taller man recovered, fury burning in his glowing eyes. He raised his fist. Alarms blared. Real guards turned the corner. They rushed at the two impersonators with shock and rage. Jonas backed against the wall, breathing hard, chest tight, trying not to collapse. The attackers were tackled, disarmed, and dragged away. One hissed at Jonas as he was pulled out of the hallway. You won't be lucky next time, human. Jonas's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He sprinted to the sealed chamber, shouting. Open the door. Is she okay? Open it. The princess appeared behind the glass with her daughter safely in her arms. Her face was pale with fear, but not fear of Jonas. Fear of how close they had come to losing everything. The door opened. She stepped toward him, trembling. Jonas Reed, she said quietly. They tried to kill you. Jonas nodded, still shaking. They won't stop. She lowered her eyes. No. They will not. Not until you are gone. Jonas looked at the infant, her small glow warm and calm. She reached toward him again, cooing softly. He moved closer. The baby's glow brightened immediately. Then I stay with her, Jonas said. The princess stared at him. Her voice softened, breaking through her armor for the first time. You are more than a worker now. She placed her hand over his. You are her guardian. Jonas didn't feel brave. He didn't feel strong. He felt terrified. But when the baby curled her tiny fingers toward him, he understood something. Sometimes courage isn't about fighting armies. Sometimes it's simply refusing to walk away. And Jonas Reed was done walking away. Jonas slept only in pieces, resting in a chair beside the infant's prism cradle. Every time he closed his eyes, he imagined the two fake guards lunging at him again. Every time he drifted off, he woke up instantly, checking if the baby was still glowing, still breathing, still safe. By morning, her tiny light had grown brighter. Small waves of soft silver shimmer moved across her skin. Her breaths were deeper, calmer. She even made small cooing sounds whenever Jonas spoke. The princess entered quietly. Her armor was gone. She wore a simple robe, one only seen during times of mourning or deep reflection. "How is she?" the princess whispered. Jonas gently touched the cradle's edge. "She's stronger today. I think she's healing." The princess let out a shaky breath of relief. But her shoulders remained tense. Fear still lived behind her eyes. She wasn't afraid of losing her child anymore. She was afraid of losing her throne. Or losing Jonas. Or both. Later that day, the infant made a strange sound. Not a cry. Not a whimper. Something between a breath and a word. "Who, mm?" Jonas leaned forward. "Hey, little star," he said softly. "You trying to say something?" The baby blinked her silver eyes. Her glow brightened. She opened her tiny mouth and tried again. "Who, man?" Jonas froze. "Did she?" The princess stood at the doorway, her hand rising to her mouth. Emotion shot across her face, shock, love, fear, and something deeper. Jonas whispered. "I think," she said, "human." The princess stepped closer, trembling. She touched the cradle gently. "That is her first word," she whispered. "She chose you." Jonas shook his head slowly. "No, maybe it just sounded like." The baby reached her arms out toward him, small hands stretching desperately. Her glow pulsed warmly. The princess's voice cracked. "She remembers him." "Who?" Jonas asked. "My daughter's father," she said quietly. "The human who saved my life years ago." Jonas felt a heavy breath catch in his chest. "Oh. You carry the same warmth," the princess continued. "The same softness. The same scent of earth soil he carried on his clothes. Her body recognizes it. Her heart recognizes it." Jonas looked at the baby again. She stared at him with full trust, as if he'd always belonged to her world. He whispered. "Hey, little one." She giggled, a tiny, bright sound that filled the entire chamber with life. The princess smiled through tear-filled eyes. But that smile faded quickly when a guard rushed inside. "Your Highness," he said urgently. "The council has learned of the assassination attempt." The princess stiffened. "Already?" "They are questioning your leadership," the guard said. "They are suggesting the child is cursed. They blame the presence of a human." Jonas felt cold. "Me?" "They think your influence is dangerous," the princess said. "They claim you are somehow manipulating the air." Jonas stared in disbelief. "But all I did was help her breathe." "That is exactly why they fear you," the princess whispered. "Your presence shows the council they are powerless. And nothing terrifies them more." She stepped forward, lowering her voice. "There is another danger now." Jonas looked at her. "What danger?" The princess took a long, steady breath. "If the people start believing you are important to the heir, the council cannot kill you without committing treason. They will lose their power. That is why they must remove you before the public learns of your importance." Jonas's heart pounded. "So they want me gone before anyone knows the truth?" "Yes," she said. "And they will not hesitate to try again." The baby reached toward him again, her tiny voice echoing softly. "Who, man?" Jonas felt something warm break inside him. Not fear. Not duty. Something like love. He had no children of his own. No family left back on earth. No one who ever depended on him. And yet here he was, holding the trust of a child who barely knew life. He looked at the princess. "If they want to separate me from her, they'll have to force me out." The princess's eyes softened. "You would stay, even with the danger?" Jonas nodded. "Until she doesn't need me anymore." The princess looked down, hiding the emotion in her eyes. "You are a strange human, Jonas Reed." He gave a tired smile. I've been told that before. Just then, a distant alarm sounded. Low, soft, but ominous. The princess straightened. That alarm means the council has begun a closed-door session. When they finish, their decision will be final. Jonas took a deep breath. He stood beside the cradle. The baby grabbed his finger tight. Her glow pulsed gently in his palm. I'm not leaving her, he said. The princess placed her hand over his. Then neither will I. And for the first time in Solarian history, a princess, a human, and a newborn heir stood together as one. A family born not of blood, but of loyalty, trust, and a single word that carried enough power to shake a throne. Human. The palace felt different the next morning. Not safer. Not calmer. Just, quieter. A silence that didn't belong. A silence that hid teeth. Jonas fed the infant her gentle formula, watching her glow brighten with every sip. Her small fingers curled around his thumb, refusing to let go. Each time she looked at him, her silver eyes glimmered with trust that felt too big for his chest to hold. The princess watched from a few steps away. She looked strong on the outside, but her eyes told another story, fear wrapped in duty. Fear of losing her child. Fear of losing her empire. Fear of losing Jonas. Before Jonas could say anything, a guard announced. Your Highness. Elder Saren has arrived. He requests to perform the blessing ritual. Jonas frowned. Who? The princess stiffened. He is a senior council healer. Very influential. Very dangerous. But if he's dangerous, Jonas began. She cut him off. Refusing the ritual will confirm their suspicions. Accepting it keeps them calm. For now. Jonas didn't like this at all. Something about ritual felt wrong. Very wrong. Minutes later, Elder Saren entered the chamber with slow, ceremonial steps. He wore ancient white robes covered in gold runes that shimmered under the chamber lights. He carried a glowing bowl filled with blue mist. He bowed low, too low. Your Highness. I come to honor the royal child. His voice was smooth. Too smooth. Jonas tightened his grip on the infant. Saren's eyes slid toward him. The human may step aside during the blessing. The princess responded before Jonas could speak. No. The child becomes distressed when he moves. He stays. Saren's smile was fake and thin. As you wish. He began chanting. Soft at first. Then strange. A deep humming sound that vibrated against the crystal walls. Blue smoke drifted from the bowl, floating through the air like soft fog. At first it smelled sweet, then bitter, then wrong. The infant's glow flickered. She shifted uncomfortably. The machines beeped a warning. Jonas stepped back automatically, trying to get her away from the smoke. Do not interfere, Saren snapped, still chanting. The princess frowned. Jonas, stay where she needs you. Jonas moved closer. Her reading stabilized, for a moment. Then the smoke thickened. The baby whimpered. Her small chest tightened. Her glow dimmed rapidly. Jonas's heart dropped. She's not okay. It is part of the ritual, Saren said coldly. Do not interrupt. The princess stepped forward sharply. Stop the ritual. Now. Saren ignored her completely. The smoke turned dark, almost black, coiling around the cradle like a living shadow. The baby's pulse on the monitor dropped. Her breathing weakened. Jonas shouted. She can't breathe. He tried to move away. Saren hurled the entire bowl directly at Jonas's head. Jonas ducked, clutching the infant tightly as the glowing bowl shattered against the wall, spilling black smoke everywhere. Guards surged forward. Saren screamed in an ancient language, his voice twisted with hatred. She is not pure. The throne must not be tainted. The child must die. The princess's scream shook the chamber. You dare harm my daughter? Guards tackled Saren. He laughed even as they pinned him down. You are already too late, he hissed. It was not only me. Others will come. Many others. The princess's face was pure rage. Silent. Frozen. Deadly. Jonas placed the baby back in her cradle. Her glow was slowly returning. She breathed weakly, but she breathed. Jonas whispered. You're okay. I'm here. The princess stood trembling. Not with fear. With fury. Saren is part of a conspiracy, she said. And if he acted today, others will act tonight. Guards dragged the elder away. His laughter echoed through the halls like a curse. Moments later, alarms echoed across the citadel. Red lights flashed. Doors locked. Emergency shields sealed entire wings. The princess rushed to the central console. Council units have barricaded the war hall, she said. They accuse me of being corrupted by humans. They say the air is unnatural. Jonas's blood ran cold. They want the child dead. They want the throne, the princess answered darkly. And they want you gone first. Jonas stood beside the cradle, his fists clenched. I won't let them touch her. The princess turned toward him, eyes burning with determination. This is no longer about a secret, she said quietly. This is a war for the future of my daughter. For the future of this empire. Jonas moved closer to the baby. Her glow brightened at his approach, tiny fingers reaching toward him. He whispered. I'm not leaving her side. Not now. Not ever. The princess closed her eyes for a moment, relief and pain sharing space in her chest. Outside, explosions echoed faintly. Guards shouted commands. The citadel trembled. The princess whispered. Jonas Reed, stay alive. My child's life depends on it. And so does the fate of an entire galaxy. The citadel no longer felt like a palace. It felt like a battlefield wrapped in silence. Guards moved in pairs. Doors scanned anyone who passed, even royal officers. Every corridor smelled of metal and tension. Jonas stayed close to the infant all night. Her glow brightened each time he whispered to her. She giggled when he tapped the side of her cradle lightly. She rested her tiny hand against his palm, as if reassuring him that she was safe. But outside the chamber, nothing was safe. The princess entered with her cloak pulled tight. Her voice was low, controlled, but afraid. The council has locked themselves inside the war ring, she said. They are claiming the child is cursed. They say you have bewitched her. Jonas exhaled slowly. Of course they do. They have also sent messages to the outer colonies, she continued. To turn the people against us. Jonas shook his head. They're fast. The princess looked at him. They are desperate. Moments later, a guard rushed in. Your Highness, the council demands to examine the child themselves. Jonas stepped forward immediately. No. Absolutely not. The princess agreed. They will poison her the way Saren tried. But refusing them would push the council into full revolt. Jonas paced the chamber. They're spreading lies. They're using fear. The people deserve to know the truth. The princess frowned. How? Tradition forbids publicly showing the heir so early in life. Jonas looked at the infant, her small glow, her trusting eyes, her innocent heartbeat. Then break tradition. The princess froze. Her eyes widened. No ruler has ever done that. Then be the first, Jonas said. Show them the child is alive. Show them she is strong. Show them she is loved. The princess hesitated. Jonas, if I stand beside a human on a public broadcast. He finished her sentence softly. The council loses its excuse to kill me. She looked down. And then, she nodded. Prepare the stellar balcony, she commanded. The guards stared, stunned. But they obeyed. Hours later, the balcony overlooking the capital city glowed with white starlights. Millions of citizens watched from every screen, every tower, every ship in orbit. The princess stepped forward holding her infant in her arms, her daughter wrapped in silver cloth, her tiny glow visible even from a distance. Jonas stood beside them. Not hidden. Not behind guards. But at the princess's side, in full view of the galaxy. Shockwaves rippled across every corner of the alliance. A human. Next to the heir. Standing where no outsider had ever stood. The princess spoke, her voice steady and powerful. My daughter is alive, she said. She has fought harder than any war general. She has endured poison, fear, and betrayal. She is the future of our people. The crowd murmured loudly. And she is protected, the princess added, by someone the council fears but I trust with my life. Jonas swallowed hard. Every camera turned toward him. He gently touched the infant's hand. She looked at him, smiled, and said a soft, shaky word that echoed through every speaker in the city. Ho, me. The crowd gasped. Then silence. Deep silence. The infant reached toward the camera and repeated. Home. The word didn't sound like a simple baby sound. It carried truth. Recognition. Belonging. Billions of viewers across colonies froze in place. Alien children pointed at their screens and whispered. She said human word. Hybrid families cried with joy. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Doctors recorded the moment in shock. For the first time in the history of the Solarian Alliance. The future royal heir's first clear word was human. And it saved them all. The silence outside broke. Not with anger. But with cheering. People raised banners. Families chanted the infant's name. Drones lit the sky with glowing trails. For the first time in weeks, the citadel felt alive. Inside the war ring, the council panicked. Their lies evaporated in seconds. Their claim that Jonas was a corrupt influence shattered. 3 council members fled into hidden tunnels beneath the palace. Jonas knew those tunnels well. Maintenance staff used them for repairs. He was already running before soldiers finished scanning. When he reached the old exit tunnel, he stood tall, holding nothing but a reinforced maintenance rod. The rebels emerged, stunned to see him blocking the only path out. It's over, Jonas said calmly. You're done hurting this child. They tried to raise weapons. But behind Jonas, dozens of guards appeared. And behind them, hundreds of citizens who had followed the princess's broadcast all the way to the palace doors. The council rebels looked at Jonas, then at the crowd. They surrendered. Hours later, peace returned. The alarms stopped. The halls brightened. The baby slept quietly, glow steady and warm. Jonas stood beside her cradle, finally breathing freely. The princess stood next to him. You changed everything, she whispered. Jonas shook his head. No. She did. The princess smiled. Her first word united a galaxy. Jonas touched the cradle softly. She grabbed his finger in her sleep. And in that quiet moment, Jonas Reed understood something. He wasn't just saving her. She had saved him too. The citadel felt different in the days that followed. Not heavy. Not dangerous. But peaceful, like a massive creature finally exhaling after holding its breath for too long. Hallways glowed brighter. Healers walked with relief instead of fear. Guards stood tall again. The citizens outside sang songs about the heir's first word. One word had changed the course of the empire. Home. But inside the royal garden, Jonas barely thought about politics. He sat on a smooth stone bench beneath the purple star trees, watching the infant crawl slowly across the soft grass. Her glow shimmered like starlight bouncing on water. She clutched the small wooden earth creature he carved for her, a tiny bear with uneven ears. Every few steps, she looked back to make sure Jonas was still there. Every time she saw him, she smiled so brightly it felt like the whole garden lit up. Jonas's chest tightened with warmth. He had never imagined this. Never imagined being part of something bigger than mopping floors and fixing broken panels. Never imagined a child, an alien child, would cling to him like he was her entire universe. The princess watched from a distance, her armor replaced with a simple royal sash. She had not worn anything so peaceful in years. Her face was calm, softer, almost human in its warmth. "Jonas Reed," she called gently, "it is time." He stood and followed her into the grand star hall, where hundreds of citizens and guards had gathered. Golden light poured in through towering crystal windows. The floor glowed with symbols of past rulers. But at the center stood a new symbol, a rising star intertwined with a human silhouette. Jonas stopped, confused. Is this for her?" he asked. "No," the princess said with a soft smile. "It is for you." Drums echoed. Lights dimmed. A hush fell over the hall. The princess stepped forward, holding the royal insignia, an iridescent medallion that shimmered with ancient power. She placed it gently over Jonas's chest. Her voice carried across the hall and out into the galaxy through the broadcast screens. "Jonas Reed," she declared. "You saved the heir when even our greatest healers could not. You defended her from those who wished her harm. You protected this empire not with weapons, but with courage and heart." Jonas felt tears rise, but he blinked them away. The princess continued. "By my authority as ruler of the Solarian Alliance, I name you guardian of the radiant heir, protector of the throne, and the first human ever written into our royal lineage." Jonas's heart stopped. "Written into the royal line?" "Yes," she said softly. "You are not just her guardian, Jonas. You are her family." The hall erupted with cheers, deep, thunderous, joyful. Guards saluted him. Healers bowed. Citizens shouted his name from balconies. Then the infant was brought forward by a maid. She reached for Jonas before anyone else. He picked her up, holding her against his chest. She touched his cheek with a tiny glowing hand and giggled. "Ho, me," she whispered again. The crowd went silent, then roared with joy. Jonas felt something inside him break, not from pain, but from overwhelming emotion. This little life had chosen him. Not by accident. Not by fate. But by pure trust. After the ceremony, the princess approached him quietly in the star garden. "She sees you," the princess said. "Not as a servant. Not as an outsider. But as someone she belongs with." Jonas looked down at the tiny heir resting peacefully in his arms. He whispered. "I thought I was no one." The princess shook her head gently. "You were invisible because no one looked. Not because you lacked value." Jonas swallowed hard. "I didn't save her alone. You fought for her more fiercely than anyone." The princess looked away, her voice trembling. "I lost someone I loved before. I will not lose again. And now, neither of us fights alone." Jonas nodded slowly. He understood more now. He understood her grief, her strength, her fear, and her newfound hope.